Let us understand how we can integrate Spark 2 using Python with Jupyter Lab. Once we integrate, we will be able to explore PySpark in interactive fashion using Jupyter Lab. First, we need to ensure that virtual environment is activated. As part of this virtual environment, we have set up Jupyter, and hence this virtual environment have to be activated so that we can run valid Jupyter commands to add new kernels. As of now, I have already activated the virtual environment. You can see here, we can actually say pip list and then say grep Jupyter. You can see the Jupyter related libraries here, and also we are able to connect to Jupyter environment using browser. You can validate by refreshing this page. You can review the list of available kernels here. We have only Python 3. We will not be able to run Spark code on this. We can install Spark library using pip, and we should be able to develop code using Spark. However, that Spark might not be integrated with Hadoop directly. We might have to take care of integration. Already we have Hadoop and Spark set up on our server where we are setting up single node cluster. We want to use existing one, and hence we want to create a new kernel with Spark embedded with it. That being said, to create new kernel from the command line, you can actually use Jupyter kernel spec and then take it further. First, let's review the list of kernels that are available. You can copy this and then paste as part of the terminal. You can see that as of now, there is only one kernel, which is nothing but Python 3. That is what is visible from the UI as well. Let's understand few internals related to kernels. We'll be using existing kernel itself to review and understand what's going on internally. We can copy this, and then we can say ls-ltr, paste the path and hit enter. You can see there is a file called as kernel.json. You can actually say cat, paste the folder name and then kernel.json. You should be able to review the JSON file. It contains the contents related to which programming language should be used, what command should be used, so on and so forth. This is how a kernel.json file will look like. It will be using this to actually launch the kernel whenever we launch notebook and select a kernel using Jupyter. That being said, we have to create a folder like this and specify kernel.json file. For that, I'm using mkdir command. Let me pick up this command. You can see that the path is similar to what we have already. If I go back here and if I run Jupyter kernel spec list once again, we should be able to review the path of the existing kernel. It is nothing but this one. Using this as reference, I'm just creating the folder structure. In this case, after kernels, the folder name is PySpark2. Actually, it will create a folder by name mkdir also. Let me clean it up. The reason why it will be creating a folder by name mkdir is because I have said mkdir, and then I have specified this path. It will also create this folder path. You can actually say ls-ltr and paste it. You can see that there are no files in it. Now you can actually say va, paste this path and then say kernel.json. Now you can hit enter, then go to the insert mode, go here, copy the contents that are displayed here. You can paste it here. Now if you review the contents of this JSON, it say language is Python, display name is PySpark2. This is where the location of Python is with respect to running PySpark. This is the Spark home. So we are integrating with the existing Spark. Also we are trying to launch Spark using Yarn. You can see the details here. And also we have specified Python path related to Spark here. These are all very important settings which we have to take care so that the kernel can be created using PySpark2, which is already set up on this single node. Now we should be able to save this, come out of it, and then you should be able to run this command to create a new kernel as part of our existing Jupyter Lab environment. You can hit enter. Now a new kernel is created by name PySpark2. You should be able to list once again, and you can validate that the new kernel is created. We can list the kernels using this command. If you look at the kernel path, even though we have specified this location while creating the kernel, it have used this one. Internally, it will actually create this folder and copy the kernel.json from this location into this folder. You can live with it. Don't worry too much about the difference between the location of this kernel and this kernel. The important thing which you need to keep in mind is now you have to go to the browser, go to the page where we are validating the Jupyter Lab environment that is being set up, and you can review here. Earlier we have only Python 3, now PySpark2 is added to this. Now you should be able to click on this. You can actually rename this to validate PySpark2, hit enter. Now you can go here. You can actually copy this piece of code as part of this first cell, and you should be able to run this. You can see that it is imported successfully. To make sure that Spark can run using yarn that is there as part of this cluster, you should be able to copy this piece of code and paste it here. It will take care of creating a Spark session object by name Spark using yarn. You can run this. It will take care of creating the object by name Spark, which is of type Spark session. Once it is created, we should be able to validate against Hive by actually running these two code snippets. This will actually take care of listing the databases. We should see both default as well as retail DB. You can run this and you should be able to see the databases here. You can also run this query to confirm that we are able to run Spark related jobs using PySpark 2 that is set up as part of this Jupyter Lab environment. Now you should be able to run this and you can see the output. So as part of our server where single node cluster is being set up, we have even integrated Jupyter Lab with PySpark 2. We will also take care of setting up Spark 3 on the server, and also we'll integrate that with Jupyter Lab environment so that we can learn even Spark 3 using Jupyter based environment.